want to welcome everybody. My name is Bea Williams, and I am with Ben Kinney Companies and Place, and I'm located here in the beautiful Seattle, Washington area, where I do these webinars every single Wednesday like clockwork at noon Pacific for an hour, where I train agents, and it's just my joy to do these. We have about 1,700 agents here in Washington State, and 65 teams throughout the country. And so we have a lot of agents to train. And every week I try to get really tactical and try to interview people that are top and best in class, right? And so today I am really, really excited to have Kathrin Rein. And the reason I'm excited to have Kathrin is not only have I gotten to know Kathrin over the last few years, but she is beautiful and radiant, and she's a highly successful solo agent. And it's really important for me to honor the solo agent. You do not have to be a team to be successful in real estate. Let me repeat that. You do not have to be a team to be successful in real estate. In fact, many of you shouldn't be. Many of you are just super awesome individual solo agents. And look, you know, would a showing agent help you and an assistant? You bet. Yes. But you know, a small, tight, you know, group of people helping you, absolutely yes. And you don't have to have a big, huge mega team around you, right? So when I say solo agent, that can be a loose definition, right, Kathrin?
Absolutely, yes.
Doesn't necessarily mean like you do this alone, right?
No.
So I thought today, Kathrin, that we would kind of do my, you know, I want to walk through, it's kind of my typical thing I was going to say. I want to walk through, you know, how you got where you got, and walk through how you do what you do as a solo agent, because you don't do it alone. And I don't think we're trying to say you do, right?
No.
And just kind of walk through how you get your business, how you do use what we call leverage, but another way to say that is how you do use people to help you. It's another way to say leverage, right? How you use technology and things to help you, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And all of that good stuff. But let's start from the beginning and talk about you coming to America with $750 in your pocket from Germany, girlfriend. You got to tell us that story.
Hey everyone, thank you so much, Bea, for having me today. I'm really excited. I hope I can bring some value to a lot of solo agents that are out there. Okay, so I'm in Miami, Florida, and I was not always in Miami. I came first to the United States as an au pair, as a nanny in 2005. And I was a summer nanny for a little child. And after that summer au pair stay, I had 2 weeks vacation left, and I went to LA, and I just stayed. I was an actress back in Germany, and my dream was to become an actress in Hollywood. And I got into stand-up comedy. It was actually really good. There is still a few YouTube videos out there of me doing comedy. And it was really fun and really exciting. It was just a job that didn't really pay very well, because I had to get all my broke actor friends out there to pay $18 for a ticket and a 2-drink minimum. And you know, how many times can you have your poor broke actor friends come out see the same act? Really not that often. And then I met my husband in Germany when I went to renew my visa. And we got really quickly very serious. I brought him back with me to the United States. So I imported him, and I became pregnant really quickly. It was not really planned, but you know, life throws things at you and you deal with them. And my son has been my biggest blessing. And thanks to him, I had to get my act together. I had to, you know, do something that actually brings me income. And I got into real estate.
Why real estate, though? There's a lot of things that bring you income. You know, what introduced you to real estate?
Well, in the beginning, I was a stay-home mom for 2 or 3 years. My husband was the main breadwinner. He was working. And I had this realtor that was showing me properties. And he kept telling me that I would be good at this. And I personally thought it was the most boring job in the world, but I was a stay-home mom. I had nothing else to do. And I was really bored out of my mind with all the moms on the playground. You know, they were all these stay-home moms, and all they had to talk about was their bottles and their naps, and most of the time there was nannies. There was not even the moms. And I was just bored, and I'm like, okay, fine, I'll take the test. It took me almost a year to finally sign up, and I went to Keller Williams' office. I only did one interview with Keller Williams, and surprise, they wanted me, and I was so excited. I'm like, the first place wants to hire me. And then I signed up, and pretty quickly, I figured out that I actually really love real estate, especially after the first deal. I sold 3 apartments, all cash, for $1.6 million. That was my first deal. And I'm like, sweet, I really like this business.
That's amazing. And by the way, Robin, our crack producer, Robin, just tracked down your comedy video, which we just shared. Not only in comments, Robin will share it in the Facebook group as well. And I cannot wait to see that. I'm just so excited. I can't even tell you that just made my day that you. Ben and I, we are planning to do a stand-up comedy routine together. Oh, wow. Wow. Oh, wow. Okay.
Ben is so funny. I mean,
so many
he
thoughts
so
running through my head. I
there.
can't on that. That is awesome. And wow. Okay, good. I can't wait to see you do that. And as for Ben, wow.
Here, I said it, Ben. Now you can't out of it. You can't back out of it anymore.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. That's awesome. Okay, good. So, all right, yeah, someone's like, Ben in comedy, is that an oxymoron? No, Ben is a very, very funny guy. A stand-up comedy routine is, I think, really technical. I think it's surprisingly technical, though.
Yeah, you have to have every beat planned, otherwise people don't laugh.
Yeah, I think that's pretty tough. All right, so let's walk through. You get into real estate. Let's walk through. What was your first transaction?
Well, it was that deal. I met this guy at a model party, and back then I was an actress and model, and I could have, he asked me, what are you doing? And I could have said, I'm an actress, but I said, I'm a real estate agent. And it was the right choice because he bought 3 apartments 1 week later with me, and he's still one of my best clients to date. Wow. And the first year was really stressful for me because I had a lot of deals that fell apart. A lot of people, cheated on me. I cried almost every day. Real estate was really tough the first year or the first 2 years. It was really tough because I used to be a very sensitive person. Now I'm of course tougher, but it was really, really, really hard for me in the beginning.
How are you meeting clients? Why do you think that happens so often?
For me, I meet clients through relationship building. I build relationships by talking to everyone. And my husband is always embarrassed because wherever I go, in the elevator, at the gas station, I always talk to people and I meet new people.
Why do you think you got rejected and cheated on so many times?
Because I didn't pre-qualify people and I didn't set my value. So now I have a really strict value proposition, and I don't work with anyone unless I have an exclusive agreement with them.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about how you worked into that. Let's kind of work into that. So you have this first year, and that happens a lot where you would show houses. I'm assuming when you say cheated on you, you mean you would show houses and do a lot of work, and then they would go purchase with someone else.
How did that feel?
Well, is that what you mean by cheating on you?
Yes. Yes. I would show them like 20 houses, even like 9 months pregnant with my second child. And then they would cheat on me with, or would say, oh, I bought it for sale by owner. And that would happen and happen and happen. And I'm like, okay, I got to really set my value. And I want to make sure that if I take someone out, that I also close and that I get paid. So now they need to sign me a buyer's agreement. For example, I just had a buyer that we had on a contract. They canceled a week before closing because they thought the house was too small for them, and I still got paid.
So, okay. So you're not necessarily saying cheat as in they didn't work with you. You're saying cheat as in they were not buying houses. They were not, they weren't necessarily following through with the contracts, because there's two things in real estate. There's actually a client buying a house, right? And then there's actually a client choosing to work with us as a real estate agent. And what I'm hearing you say is that they were actually not following through and buying the house. It wasn't just about working with you. Is that accurate?
They were buying a house. They were just buying it either as a for sale by owner or with another agent. So
they were buying it.
For them, it was just like, they didn't see the value of an agent. They're like, okay, she showed us a few houses, and then they were not committed and loyal. So I made a decision, and this was the last 2 years. I was very, very firm and strict on that I decided not to waste any time on anyone ever again, unless they're serious and unless they're loyal and committed. Yeah.
Before we do that, though, because that's really important, I do want to get into that. How many years ago did you start in real estate? I really want to walk through this until we get there.
9 years ago, I started. Mm-hmm.
When would you say, so you did how many homes your first year-ish?
That's a good question. I don't know. I can't look that up even on the reports anymore.
If you had to work your way up, though, to whether it's volume or whether it's GCI, whether it's units, how can you kind of walk us through how fast or slow, though? I want to give all of our viewers kind of an impression of what that rise and that growth looked like, Kathrin.
I would say after 3 years, I was over $200,000. After 4 years, I was over $350,000. And then 500, and then the last years I was always over 700,000-800,000.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
And so that's really what I wanted to get at. Did you start with mainly buyers?
Only buyers. In the beginning, I absolutely hated listings, and I know now why. I didn't like the accountability. I didn't want someone to call me and say, "Why didn't my house sell?" I really hated that. And with the buyers, it was fun. You show them a million houses, you go around, it's like party town, right? And for me now, I prefer the sellers because I know I get for sure my commission. For me, the buyers are, sometimes I still work with a few buyers. I mean, I do all the negotiation, but I barely do any showings because for me, it's like, okay, pick a house.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I do want to talk about that because being a solo agent does not mean you don't have help, right? That's not what you mean by that.
I do.
When did you kind of start adding, more and more listings into your repertoire?
I would say about 5 years ago, I started doing more listings, and then I was really, I would say 70% listings, 30% buyers. This year, it shifted a little bit. This year, we're working with a lot of buyers, obviously, because there's not a lot of listings out there. I went from 30 listings to right now, I only have 10. I have a third of my listings. So we do have a lot of buyers. So I made it really my mission. Whatever buyer I work with, I make sure they close, right? They have to sign a buyer's agreement up front. Then when we submit the contract, they have to sign another exclusive buyer's agreement. And I do with them a very thorough presentation where I set the expectations. And I think that's the most important part when you're a solo agent. A lot of people will waste your time. A lot of people will not be committed to you. So you need to make sure you filter those people out. I've had a few people that didn't want to sign the buyer's agreement. I'm like, go find someone else because my time is too valuable. If you don't sign it, I'd rather lay by the pool and watch my kids play.
At what point? Yeah, it totally makes sense. At what point do you think you got there though? Like at what point do you think that, because it's hard to do that because, you have that fear of loss, right? Where you really want the commission and you're worried if you say that a client's going to say, okay, bye, see you later. There's a lot of other agents who will go show me houses. I don't have to work with you. How many years in did you get brave enough to kind of take that stance?
Say it took me at least 7 years. And, all those memories of the people that didn't commit to me and that I spent hours of driving around, it eventually, it adds up and you're like, enough is enough. So for me, it's like, if I miss out a deal or two, I don't really care because I get more time back. So I really value my time so much that I don't want to work with anyone that doesn't end up closing. Like those people that ended up canceling 3 days before closing because the house was too small, but we got paid. So
Yeah. So let's talk about that. So how do you have the dialogue now with a buyer? If I'm a buyer, how would you have a dialogue with me that states that, I have to be committed to you? Would it be so let's say I called you and said, "Hey, Kathrin, Susie referred me to you. She said you were great. And we're looking for a house in Miami, and I'm interested in working with you."
Mhm. So the first thing I do, I ask them really quick what they're looking for to see if they're realistic. And then the next step is, so let's do a Zoom consultation, because I do with everyone a Zoom consultation to go over the expectations and how the house buying works in Miami. We find this very valuable. Our clients love to be informed and to be on top of things. So when are you available? So we set it up, and I have a Zoom link. It's called meetwithkathrin.com. Very easy, and that forwards to my personal Zoom room. And then I do a consultation with me and my partner agent, which we're probably going to talk about later. So my partner agent is the lady that does all the showings and the listing setups for me. So I'm not doing any showings anymore. I only do the negotiation and I overlook the contracts. So then I go with them over I have a slideshow on Google Slides that I go over with them. And on there, the first slide is that I sold last year 78 homes, and that we get them into a home. And basically I tell them, listen, I sell a lot of homes, and I really love the clients that I'm with. But because I sell so many homes, for me, it doesn't matter if I sell one more or one less. So you can always expect brutal honesty from me. I will never sell you anything that I don't believe in. Makes sense? And people already love that, right? So they know I don't need their sale, but I will tell them honestly what I think of the property that they're interested in. So that number one. And then we set the expectations. I tell them, listen, any home that we'll show you, most of the people right now buy sight unseen because they're from out of state. We tell them, listen, you need to look on Google Maps because we don't want to get to the virtual showing and then you discover the houses on a main street. So then we ask them to watch the 3D tour, the video, and they all need to have a pre-approval. Otherwise, we don't work with them. And then I have another slide. Do you want me to share the slides? Yeah. Okay, hold on.
And while you're pulling up the slide, I just want to kind of give you an objection. So, well, we haven't talked to a lender yet, but we'll be fine. We're definitely, easy to approve. We just haven't talked to a lender yet.
Okay, well, it's very important that when we find the right house, that we pull the trigger quickly because properties are selling so quickly. So if you don't have that pre-approval at hand, our offer won't get accepted. So I really recommend you to get the lender involved right away. That's what I say. So I do make exceptions. I want to say, though, if it's like somebody that's a high net worth client and it was a referral from an agent that has worked with those clients, then I will make an exception. But most of the time I get them from the agent or proof of funds or something similar, and we'll work together. But normally I always want them to have, because that also shows they're not serious. They're just looking around. And if they're ready to buy a house now, they are pre-approved. So I don't know if you see do you see my slide?
Yeah, we can see your slide.
So this is shopping for your new home. So I said the average buyer right now looks for 3 to 5 homes, but we found during the pandemic, most people look at 2 houses. Don't worry, it doesn't mean that we won't show you 10 if you need to, but in our experience, it has shown that people that look at 10 homes don't remember how the first 9 homes look like. And by that time, those houses are already pending. Make sense? And then people say yes. And then this is our requirements, that they need to drive by the property, or, Google Maps goes a long way. And then they need to have all those requirements. So that already filters out all those maybes and the people that think they need to look at 25 homes. Because when you watch all those HGTV shows, people think they need to look at 25 homes, right? But if you set the expectations with the people that they're only going to see 3 to 5, then they're going to be really focused.
Yeah, that's great. So it's all about managing expectations all around, not just with, signing with you, but with looking at all those homes. Speaking of which, let's keep going, because I do want to hear how you word that, when we get to that point where you're going to require them to sign an agreement to work with you, right?
Yes, okay. Absolutely. So the way I say it is, so all of our clients are exclusive clients. What does that mean? That means we will require you to sign an exclusive agreement so we can legally represent you. So we just make it sound like this, is normal in Florida. And don't worry, it doesn't mean that we're married, but it means that we're dating and cheating is not allowed, okay? Then they laugh. Then they laugh.
Like I did. I totally fell for it.
And a lot of people, they don't sign then, and then I don't send them anything. It stops right there. So all I invested is my 20 minutes on Zoom.
And so how many people would you say you Zoom with that, don't sign?
I would say out of 20, maybe one.
Oh, okay. So
because they see my value. I mean, we send them before the Zoom consultation. We already send them an email with videos, with that consultation attached and a few other informational pieces. So they know they're dealing with someone that knows what they're doing. So it's not just, I'm trying to sign them something without them knowing me, but they get my YouTube videos, they get my YouTube channel, and they're ready to rock and roll.
So just out of curiosity, if I were referred to you and I lived in Miami, say, and I'd say, hey, maybe I texted you and say, hey, Kathrin, it's Via, and we're looking for a house, wondering if you have time to get together this week. Would you still Zoom with me, or would you meet with me in person? You'd still Zoom?
Yeah, I always Zoom. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Sometimes they come to my office space also. It depends.
Oh, okay.
It depends, but most of the time we Zoom because it's just, I always say because of COVID, everybody likes to do the Zoom. I use COVID as an excuse to save myself time because, I mean, with those even with listing consultations, I get people to sign a listing agreement without giving them a price. So before I had to drive to their house, sit at their house for an hour, look at all their pictures. They show me their stamp collection, whatever, and I'm like, okay, how do I get out of this house? It would take me 3 hours for a listing appointment. Now it's 20 minutes. If they don't commit, then, they can work with someone else. I just got so tired of going to listing appointments and then finding out that the other guy does it for 4%. And I'm not doing it for 4%. So I'd rather get this out of the way up front.
Even with your high-end listings, do you get them to sign it on Zoom? No.
Yeah, the high-end ones, yes. They sign on Zoom too.
Really? Okay. That's amazing. And that's amazing. Really. I'm jealous, and I'm not brave enough. I guess I'm not brave enough.
Well, so, it's all about setting the expectations. I tell them, listen, like, I really want you to be committed and to be sold on me, not on the price that I give you, because then I just give you a high price to buy the listing like every other agent does. And you don't want that, right? You want someone that's honest with you. And most of them say yes. And I said, I don't determine the price. It's the market. So whatever price I'm going to give you after you've signed is what the market will dictate. So it doesn't matter what price I give you now. So are you sold on me? Do you want to work with me, or you don't?
What if you're meeting with someone and they say, well, we're not necessarily ready to list. We're just kind of interested in how much our house would sell for and what we would have to do to it in order to sell. We're trying to make our decision.
Oh, I love those. Those are really great. And for those, I might go to the house and give them a few tips, but not too many. I give them like a few tips and I said, listen, once we're ready to list, I'm going to give you a professional list and I put it together for you, because I got tired of the people that call me to get interior decorating tips and then they list with someone else and use all my tips. What I sometimes also do is like, let's do a pre-listing agreement where they sign upfront and sign also a writer that I can promote the listing off market within my office, obviously only, because we don't want to violate any laws. And during that time, I give them more tips and I have my vendors come out. So I call them my partners, come out and help them. I have a decluttering lady, I have a stager, I have an interior designer, but they only get access to those partners if they sign.
And you pay for those partners to come out?
It depends. The stager comes out after he's hired. He's kind of like me. The decluttering lady, I pay her for 3 hours. If they need any more, they have to pay the difference. And the interior designer comes out for free, but I tell the clients that I cover the fee, but the fee is free. And then if the client wants to hire an interior designer, they have to pay for that.
Do you advertise that you provide all of these services? Do you farm? How do you advertise that?
How do I advertise that? That's anybody that gets to work with me gets my plan of action, or anybody that I interview with has that. We do a lot of social media posts where we show, before and after with the staging. I do also post on my decluttering lady, but I don't really like blow it out there. Maybe I should.
I think you should. I mean, it's a great service. If you're doing any pay-per-click or anything, I mean, that's just great that you're providing all of that. Okay.
Yeah, the clients love that. The clients love that. We just sold a house. The people thought they can get $450 for it. We sold it for $550, and we did everything. We fixed up the house, we staged it, we cleaned it, we painted it. I mean, not me, but the people that I have.
Yeah. Oh, that's a huge difference. That's great. So, so kind of taking a step back a little bit, and maybe I should have done this a little bit ago. How many buyers and how many sellers did you sell last year? And how many buyers and sellers are you going to sell this year, to give everybody kind of an idea?
So last year we did 78 units, and it was 70% sellers, 30% buyers. This year, probably it's going to be 50-50.
How many do you think you'll do this year as far as units?
Probably the same, 80.
Yeah.
The price point is a little bit higher this year though. So I already surpassed my last year production.
Got it. That's incredible. Really great job. I mean, that's awesome. So let's move into sources of business. So it sounds like we have a lot of sphere of influence and past clients and referrals. And I think, knowing you, I'm going to guess social media would be one too.
Yes.
What other sources do you have?
I have a lot of referrals from past clients. Okay. So that is big. Referrals from other agents is huge. I'm lucky enough to have amazing referral partners that believe in me and that I mastermind with all the time. And then I have a lot of people that are outside of my industry, and I have a leather book where I put their business cards in and I glue them in, like really old school. And I go through that book a lot and think, who can I add value to, and who can I help, and who can I send business to? And a lot of them send me business in return. But, I always gave them business first before they gave me anything in return. So they have proven to be a really good referral source. And then obviously Facebook, I get a lot of business through Facebook, not so much strangers that don't know me, but people that I'm friends with, and I don't even know how I'm friends with them, but somehow I know them. And they're like, hey, I want to list my house. Can we do a Zoom consult? Because they know I do Zoom consults. And I did one of those yesterday, and I got the listing. So a lot of those. There is not many people that just call me up and say, hey, I want to sell my house. I don't have those a lot. I have more like referrals, which I always prefer because I know they are really hot leads.
Wow, that's great. Oh, I lost my question. That is so funny. I was just going to ask you a follow-up, but it just completely left my mind. That is so funny when that happens. That very rarely happens to me too. I do want to kind of move into your internal organizational structure, though. That is important to me to kind of learn, because I've said it numerous times, throughout our time together so far, being a solo agent doesn't mean you're alone, right? It just means that you're the breadwinner and the one that's making it rain. Best slogan ever. Kathrin Rein, making it rain, just so everybody gets it. Okay, just making sure. It's so good. So you're making it rain. So tell us a little bit about how you're staffed up and about your production partner and how all that works.
Okay. Yes. So I try to have a team. I couldn't work it out. I can't. I have a very low tolerance for people's problems.
I understand, sister.
On my own, so I'm like, I have less problems than other people, and I have like a whole family to deal with, and four pets. So I have a partner agent. She is a cross out of a showing agent and an assistant. So she's not in the office all day. She doesn't have a 9 to 5 hour. She can basically work whenever she wants, but she has to work whenever there's work, right? So she knows that she sometimes has to work 70 hours a week. Sometimes it's only 20 hours. It really depends on how busy we are. The reason I call her my partner agent, because when I do buyer's consultations and listing appointments, then she's next to me, and I introduce her as my partner. So my clients don't get upset if I just send an assistant. So she has a higher rank and a higher position. And it also allows me to take time off because my partner is there to pick up the work for me. So she's great. She does all the showings because that took too much of my time driving around town, showing all my listings. In Miami, I have to show most of my listings in person. So she's taking that off my back. She also does all the buyers showings. And then when it comes to negotiation, that's my strength. And I'm most of the time on the computer. I do a lot of Zoom calls with either other offices or with people like you. And so it makes me focus on the things that are important for me. Okay. So I have her. Then number two, I have a VA. She's in the Philippines. She works for me full time. And no, I'm not willing to share her because people always ask, are you willing to share her? No, I'm not. She's been with me for 2 years. I love to share a lot of things, but no, my VA, she's amazing. And she basically runs my production because I have, all those videos, all those photos, all those social media. That is not always me posting. I post a lot of stuff, but most of the stuff comes from her. So if you think you can do this all on your own, you're wrong. Like, this is not a one-woman show. I don't run a video production. So she does a lot of the videos, and we edit videos and repurposes in YouTube and here and there. And then I have a transaction coordinator. She's third-party company. She's not in my organization, but she's great. And once it goes pending, it's all to her. I don't even read any emails or anything. And I even tell her, if there's a problem, text me, because I don't read any of the emails. So she's great. So that's all we have.
That's awesome. Someone asked, what does VA stand for? And that stands for virtual assistant. And so it means that it's someone, in her case, not in Miami. In this particular case, it means in the Philippines, but you could have a virtual assistant that's in the same country as well. We have someone was asking about training. I've used VAs for about a decade, and maybe we should do a webinar on VAs. In fact, we should do a webinar on VAs. I'll do one, but it's a great way. I'm a really big believer in them. It's a really great way to support our colleagues. And in our case, our VA, Anne, in the Philippines, is part of our work family. I adore her. She's incredibly talented. She means the world to me. I've had a number of really successful, talented VAs over the years. So anyway.
Yeah. Oh, and one thing I want to mention also, like, what was for me most time consuming was the showings and the phone calls. I got like 100 phone calls a day from people that want to sell me stuff, realtors that can't read instructions. And there was maybe 1 or 2 qualified people per week that I should have taken the call from. So for me, it was very important to filter out those calls. So they all go now to my partner agent. I'm like, good luck.
Oh, let's train everybody. I have a lot of experience with that because I've had a team for a long time. So there's a couple scripts that you all can use. This is really helpful for you. So if you have an assistant or a partner, a production partner, whatever you want to use, a really great script for that person to use because 90% of that is the other agents calling. And so a great script is when they say, hi, I'm looking for Kathrin. They can say, oh, Kathrin's not available. I can help. No, I really need Kathrin. Perfect. Can I leave a message for Kathrin? What can she help you with? Well, I'm trying to ask questions about listing at 123 State Street. Oh, that's great. What can she help you with on 123 State Street? Well, I'm just wondering, if the stream is the end of the property line. Oh, it's not. It looks like it is, but actually the property line goes 10 feet beyond the stream. If you'll notice, there's some red flags over there. That's actually where the property, and then they start getting into dialogue and they start trusting. And then the person says, actually, I'm the co-listing agent. I just happened to answer the phone. And then all of a sudden they trust them. I trained my assistants really, really well to field literally 90% of all calls. And the trick is that they didn't disagree with the other caller. You kind of go, okay, great. Yeah, what can VIA help you with? And they kind of just go on and they're helping him anyway.
Yeah, no, it's again, setting expectations. I mean, people were like asking questions. They were clearly on the MLS. And I just got so annoyed with those calls. And I was one day in the office and my husband is like, you're being really rude. And I don't want to be rude to people. Like, I want to be kind and nice. But I got so annoyed because people always ask the same stuff. And then I'm like, okay, it's time to leverage that because I don't have time for that. So she takes all the calls.
Yeah, it's way, way better that way. And so you're going back to your VA a little bit, just kind of want to drill down because I understand she did the video stuff. I'm still trying to understand a little bit who does like your database marketing, you know, like maybe your emails and all of that.
She does the MailChimp campaigns and then I review and approve and I send them out. So because I don't have that trust yet that she just clicks the button and everything is right. Everything needs to be approved and reviewed by me. I'm a little bit of a control freak. But I do that. And then whenever we sell a property or list a property and we send like a circle postcard or we send letters, I pull the addresses and then I give them to my partner agent and she stamps and prepares all the letters. So, but that data comes from me. And to the database management, all of us together, we have a VIP client list that we manage. And then I'm like, okay, we need to do something. We haven't touched base with them in a while. So let's send them out calendars. So we just ordered calendars for 2022. So they're going to get a touch piece in a few weeks.
How many people are on your total database and how many people are on that VIP list?
So I have a database of about 9,000 people, but my VIP is 200. It's really small.
And have you met all of those 9,000?
No.
Yeah, so those are farm.
Them out. It's like people that I met at an open house, you know?
Yeah. Are some of those like pay-per-click leads too that have come in and responded? No.
I don't pay for any leads.
Okay.
I tried it for a while. The thing is, like, I don't have the manpower to follow up with those maybe leads. For me, the conversion rate was too low. And I have so much business at hand that's referral and that are hot leads and easy to convert that I know I'm leaving business on the street, but for me, it works with the referral leads.
Do you farm at all? I noticed I remember you said you circle prospected when you get a good sale. Do you farm at all, like regularly?
Yeah, we do postcards once a month to a database of 10,000 people. I've been doing it now for a year. I don't really see the results yet, but I don't want to give in yet. I saw the last call you did with Tiffany.
Yeah.
And that really inspired me. I'm like, okay, I need to jump back on it and get better at it because that is really a great tool.
Yeah, that's right. And so, so out of that 9,000, I'm hearing you say that the farming is not part of that 9,000. You're not including that group in that, but is the circle prospecting part of that 9,000?
No, circle prospecting is whenever we take a listing because Miami is spread out. Yeah. We send letters to all the neighbors. And that has been really successful. We double-ended a lot of deals this year because we sent letters out before the property list, and the day it hits the MLS, they receive the letter in the mail. So we're not doing anything illegal. It's technically, we just send it out 2 days prior, so it hits the neighbors on the day it goes live. And we've had a lot of people come to our open houses. Open houses is, by the way, also a great lead source we're working with. We meet a lot of people at our open houses.
Do you personally do open houses?
Yes, I still go to open houses. Sometimes I just sneak in for an hour or 30 minutes. But that's how I, originally started having all those buyers and connecting with people because people came to those open houses and they were like, oh, this girl, she knows the neighborhood. She knows what she's doing. I picked up people at open houses that came in with an attitude, oh, we don't have an agent. If we buy this house, do we get it 3% cheaper? And I explained them nicely that it doesn't work this way and the value of an agent. And those people have sent me they bought and sold a house with me, and they have sent me 4 referrals.
Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
Open house.
I mean, if you've seen anyone who's been a regular with me knows I also got the massive beginnings of my business were with open houses. So I too just
likable. You're very likable. So people jump on
you. So are you. It's if you're good with people, just the number one thing, if I had to go sell a home in a week, I would call my database and go to open houses. Like,
Yeah.
if there's nothing else I could think of to do, those would be the two things. I think that any new agent barring anything else, those are the two activities. Call everybody and go do open houses, right? Like
I agree. As many as you can. I mean, I told my partner agent, because she has to do one open house right now a month, because we don't really have that many listings that you can do open houses in. And I said to her, listen, I used to do 4 open houses a weekend, Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon. I was never home on the weekends. I worked. I mean, I was a hustler.
Oh, either that, or I would do, the other thing I would do, I would do like 11 to 5, maybe like on a Saturday or a Sunday if it was
just camp there.
Oh, I just set up, or during the week, I would just go work. I would just set up all my signs and I did hours and hours of open houses, hours of them.
Yeah, I have a question for you. How do you feel like, the open houses, everything is fun, but how did you feel about putting up the signs?
Oh, they're the worst. And you know what the worst is? What's worse than putting up the signs? Taking them down. Oh, especially in Seattle. Literally, let me just tell you, in December, in Seattle, it is raining, you have heels on, it is dark, and all you want to do is go home. And it's like, there's nothing worse. Literally, it is the worst part of real estate.
I feel you. That was my biggest issue. I'm like, if I can just hire someone to put my signs on, then sometimes I had my husband do it. I was so grateful for that. But then he's like, I don't want to do this anymore.
So bad. I just remember like long weeks, that go into weekends, and it's Sunday night and it's like 5 o'clock and it's literally dark out. And I'm like, I just want to go home, and then the next day you get like an angry neighbor. You left a sign out. You're like, oh, it's the worst. All right. Anyway. All right. All done. But I'm purging and it feels really, really good to do that. Okay. So, I do think that, I'm a really big believer in teams. I mean, I grew a really big team, right? And I think what's unique is I got my start in real estate, Kathrin, as a solo agent. I have a heart for both. I have literally been a super high level, solo agent, and I've been a really high level team. And so, I think that being a solo agent is on one level, it's way more profitable. It's, you have way more control. On the other hand, you work a lot. I mean, there is this element of you go on vacation and your business goes with you, right? So for all the solo agents watching who might be a little fried, especially after this year, how do you manage that? How do you manage being a solo agent and, wanting to just turn the phone off and wanting to go on vacation,
I think that you need to really have the phone system in place. That really helped me. And you need to find a partner agent. Sorry. You need to find a partner agent that can take over for you, and that is knowledgeable and that the clients trust. Yes, some clients, they still want me and they know that I am, the main person on the team. But you really need to find someone. And yes, it costs me money. I pay her a really good salary and bonus, but it's so worth it for me to have the time back. I sometimes now come to the office and I'm like, what do I have to do today? I don't really have much on my schedule. And it's so freeing to know that I went this year twice on vacation for 2 weeks. I've never done that before.
Oh, that's
so you really
nice.
need to buy some of your time back. And don't be cheap. Like, you really need to find someone that's loyal to you, and you only get that if you pay, a good salary. And, I mean, I don't want to say I will never have a team, because maybe I will have a team one day. I'm just really passionate right now about helping other solo agents, because it was always just about teams, right? Teams, you need to be on a team, you need to grow a team. And I always was shamed into this guilt of not being able to build a team. And I always felt like a failure. I was making $700,000-$800,000 a year, and people were like, oh, but you don't have a team. And I'm like, so what? Like, I'm 85% profitable. How profitable are you, right? And we look at sometimes those big teams that have 50 team members and they do 200 transactions. And I'm like, I'm doing the math and I'm like, okay, you sold 4 houses each. So what did you do the rest of the year? So, there's nothing right or wrong. It's just, for me, I really value having a high profit and not having a lot of drama and a lot of problems thrown at me at this current moment. But maybe I'll have a team one day. I don't know. I just find it really important that all those solo agents, and I feel like I'm speaking for them, that they also feel validated and they feel successful, because you don't have to be a team or be on a team in order to be considered successful.
100%. You said it so well. What does a solo agent need?
What does a solo agent need?
What does a solo agent need? You know, I run, 11 offices, real estate offices. What can I do to lots of alcohol? That's the best answer. One of the top 10 best Wednesday webinar answers ever. Lots of alcohol. Besides that answer, Lori Steenis, winner of the best answer ever.
Yeah, she's in Gary's mastermind with me. So
that's amazing. Besides lots of alcohol, I run 11 offices. Real question, like what do you think my solo agents need the most from us?
I think they need support how they can set up their admin team. Mm-hmm. So in order they can have the same freedom as somebody that runs a team with several agents.
What do you mean by freedom?
Take time off. I went last weekend to Nashville, last minute, and I didn't really check any emails. And I had that freedom because I had this partner set up that backed me up on my business. So I think we need to show people how they can hire someone that is not going to cost them 50% of their profit, and somebody that's on a salary but very motivated, and put those systems in place with a VA. Because if you have the VA and the transaction coordinator, most of your time is covered. Yeah. And then also what I also do, I do videos. I do video updates with the clients, so I don't have to repeat myself every step of the way. So now the inspection is coming. This is what you have to, this is what you have to expect. And I put that in a video and I send that to them. A day before closing, I send them a video that the closing doesn't depend on me, because I got many angry calls. They're like, oh, the closing was supposed to be a 10. Why is it not a 10? I'm like, I don't control the title. I don't own the title company. So I say that up front, that they take the day off, please, right? So it's all about expectation setting. So they need to have the systems in place, the videos, the VA, transaction coordinator, and a partner agent. Then anybody, even if they're a solo agent, they can take time off and they can be a little bit freer in this crazy business, because that business can eat you up. It's not an easy business. People have access to you 24/7, and they will take advantage of that.
Yes, they will. And I like the way you put that, because what you're talking about is leverage. You're talking about using tech as leverage, using video as leverage, using people as leverage, using vendors as leverage. And so you do have to think about, when you're a solo agent, to all of our solo agents watching, you do have to be very mindful of leveraging everything. If you do something more than once, you should have a process and a system. And it's painful, but just taking the time up front to think about that email that you keep typing the same one over again, type it really nicely once, save it as a template. And then, over time, you're going to have an auto plan together for your transaction, per Kathrin's point. So that's really, really well taken.
We have a lot of templates for the buyers and the sellers. Before we do the Zoom call, we send them a template email with attachments, and it's very beneficial.
And I'm assuming that was just built out over time, Kathrin. Is that true?
Yeah, over time. I didn't wake up one day and I had it all magically figured out. No, it was just, I kept repeating myself over the same things, and it was just, I had to set. And now what we do also on listings, I sold this year, probably 10 of the listings I sold, I never saw the inside of the listing. It makes me so proud.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's
all about leverage. I don't care. I used to be so proud to work 24/7 and work hard and grind. Now I'm proud when I can take time off. And we sold so many listings without me it was all my partner agents. She went there, she met the repair people, she met the painter, she met the cleaning lady, she did the showing, she did the final walkthrough, she met the appraiser. I never once went there.
Amazing. I love that. What do you think you have a limit to your earning potential as a solo agent?
Yeah, probably. I know I could do more business. If I would pay for leads, I would probably, have more business, but there's only 24 hours in a day. And I probably, my goal was always to be a millionaire real estate agent, which I just reached. And I might, depending if all the deals close, I might net $1 million this year. And I think you can't really do much more as a solo agent unless you have then more agents on a salary. I mean, you could have Stephanie in LA. She has a lot of agents. I think they're on payroll. I guess. I don't know. Sky's the limit, I guess. But for me personally, I know that I could probably never reach $2 million because it's just, then I have to go back working 24/7. And I don't want that. For me now, different things are important in life.
Oh, for sure. And I think that's a huge kudos. Congratulations, my friend. I mean, netting $1 million as a solo agent, when only 2% of women-owned businesses do revenue over $1 million, and that you're saying net, that's really, really outstanding. Truly. I mean, that's amazing, really. What advice do you have for all of our solo agents watching who are just like, I want to net $1 million? That's amazing. What are the things that you really like what you've done and what you're doing, and what are the things, the advice that you wish you would have not done, right? Like, what are the things you wish you wouldn't have done?
Things that I wouldn't have done. I wish I didn't take as many unqualified people out to see houses, because we're not tourist guys. My advice is just to build relationships. Whenever you don't have enough business, you need to talk to more people. Right now we are low in listings and I need to talk to more people. I'm talking to you today. A few other things that are important to me is, for example, like make sure that you also see yourself as a customer. There is many listings that you should buy yourself. And if you are in real estate and you don't treat yourself as a customer first, you're robbing yourself of a lot of opportunities. I have put all the money that I've made over the years back into real estate. I invested back into real estate. And I've become this year financially free. So if I don't want to, I don't need to work anymore. And all of you should be doing that because you sit at the source. Why not take advantage? So important. And then another thing that I think is very important is we always try to be better than everyone. How can I be the best agent? How can I be better than this and this guy or this and this lady? Focus more on like what makes you different, because people don't always work with the best agent. They work with an agent that's different. So if there's 100 agents out there, why would they work with you if you're just like everyone else? So I really focus on that a lot because I know I'm different and I'm sometimes crazy, but I know I'm fun to work with, and people, they want to work in this process with someone that's fun. They don't want to work with someone that's stuck up. And they might want to work with someone that's not as fun as me, but then there's a certain personality that likes to work with those people, and there's a certain personality that likes to work with me. So find your tribe, find your people. You will never be up to everybody's taste, right? And yeah. I think I found my people, and I'm just not the person that an expired listing or for sale by owner would probably hire, although I work with some of them. There's people that cold call and they love to work with the people that call them 20 times a day. That's not me. I'm very relationship based. So there is a client for every personality, and try to find out what makes you unique and dive into that.
So circling back, so are you saying that you bought real estate investment properties with your income? That's what you've done. Are they, long-term rentals? Are they short-term rentals? Can you talk a little bit about what your strategy has been there?
Sure. So I have 14 properties now.
Okay.
And I have a very wide variety of properties. So I have two commercial spaces. One of them is this one that I'm sitting in. I pay rent on it to my husband's company. And I own another commercial space that is rented to a bicycle store. I have several residential properties. I have a multifamily, and I have 5 vacation rentals in the mountains of Georgia that I bought last year.
Wow, that's great. So how are they all doing? How are they all performing?
Very well, very well. My vacation rentals are probably the best performing ones. I had in July only 2 of them on the market, and I grossed $29,000 between 2 of them.
Did they have a track record of STR history when you bought them, or did you turn them into short-term rentals?
I turned them into short-term rentals. So basically, I'm an opportunity seeker, and I'm in Gary's mastermind, and there was Jason Abrams was doing a little special when the pandemic hit, and he said, and I will never forget that, he said, there's opportunity in every crisis. You just need to keep your eyes open. And right now, all businesses are for sale or on sale. And that made me think, and I tried to explore a few business opportunities, but no business that I ran into was profitable enough for me to make it worth my time. So in June last year, I was really burned out and I needed a vacation. So we found, because we booked really last minute, this was the only house that was available. I paid $350 a night. And when we were there, I figured out it was a small public golf resort, only 300 homes. And I sit on the balcony. It was my birthday. And I remember it as if it was yesterday. I pull up my phone, I look on the KW app, and I almost dropped my phone. I said to my husband, this is a gold mine. The houses here are so cheap. And then we bought the first house 2 months later. For $283, and I thought I can rent it maybe for $200 a night, and I rented it in the summer for $700 a night.
Wow, that's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And then we just kept on buying. So instead of buying a business, like Jason said, I created a business, and now we run a whole hospitality business in the mountains of Georgia.
That's effectively, you're buying a cash flow business right there. That is a business, 100%. And I'm assuming you have contractors and property managers in place there.
That was one of the first things I put in place. I saw a lady doing a front yard, and there was really no one there when we were vacationing. And I said to my husband, let me talk to this lady. And he's like, no, my husband hates when I talk to people. She might think you're weird. I'm like, I don't care. I'm weird. That's okay. And I walk up to her and I introduced myself, and it turns out she's a property manager, and I hired her full time right away after the first house. And she's been working with us on those 5 homes, and she's more detail oriented than me. And I thought that's impossible, but she's amazing.
Does she set the rent price, or do you?
She doesn't do the rentals. All she does is organize the cleaning. She also walks the house before and after the cleaning lady was there. She does like little repairs. She also remodeled one of the other houses we bought completely with her husband. We do have another vacation rental company called Evolve, and they do the bookings. They charge 10%, but they don't do any of the cleaning. So we have two really good setups there.
That's great. So you've got Evolve plus the Airbnb or Verbo cut. That's really, really good. Gosh, that's low. Really good job, Kathrin. I'm doing the math in my head. That's really good because
really good investments. On some of them, we have like 100% cash on cash return.
Yeah. I mean, that's incredible. I mean, I don't know what your vacancy rate is, but yeah, you would be repaying yourself in a year or two. Shocking.
Yeah.
Shocking. Oh, goo goo gaga. I'm literally like going to get off of this and start looking, and that's incredible. I'm super pumped up now. I love it. Well, thank you so much for sharing all of this. This is a voice that's really, really important, which is why I'm having another solo agent come on next week.
Good. Awesome.
Yeah. Her name's Simi Kerr. She's from the Seattle area. She did 42 million last year, and she's going to crush that this year. What's different about her, though, Kathrin, is she does want to start a team. So she's similar to you in that she absolutely has put a line in the sand. She will not work with anybody unless they sign with her and agree to her, her terms. And so I thought it would be a really good series to have both of you because you have so many similarities. The difference is she is going to start growing a team. So I thought it would be good to have you first and then to have you. In fact, I had her first. And once I did the pre-interviews, I switched you guys. That's why I switched the dates because I thought you were really good to have first because, you don't want to grow a team right now, right? So, so definitely tune in for us next Wednesday at noon Pacific time, 2 p.m. Central, and we're here every week. We have a great lineup after that as well. So Kathrin, how can people get a hold of you if they have any real estate needs in Miami?
I'm on Instagram, I'm Beautiful Miami Team, and on Facebook, Beautiful Miami, or my name, Kathrin Rein, like make it rain.
That's right. I think you're beautiful inside and out. And I thank you so much for giving us an hour of your time. Really, thank you.
Thank you for having me, Via. That was really great.
Thank you. All right, everybody. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.